It's Amy A. Strab with Ad Astra Stamping. It is January the 6th, 2021. I am kind of reeling a little bit today. I intended to do this video this afternoon, and with all of what's going on in our nation's capital, we've kind of been glued to the TV a little bit, watching everything that's going on politically. So yeah, I'm in a little bit of a funky mood tonight, and this being my very first YouTube video, it feels a little off, but that's okay. Right now I am needing a distraction, and so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to come in here, I'm going to get busy in my craft room, take a little break from everything else and just enjoy my time with crafting, and hopefully you get to enjoy this with me. So this evening, what I am wanting to demonstrate is this fabulous new little stamp set called Darling Donkeys. Now this is a Sale A Bration item. It will only be available until February the 28th of this year, so you have just 2 short months to order enough product to get this. And when I say order enough product, this stamp set is free. You cannot purchase it. You have to get it as a freebie. So to get this as a freebie, you are going to need to purchase $50 worth of Stampin' Up! Product from either the new mini catalog. Let me show you what that looks like. So we've got the new mini catalog that just came out. It started yesterday. It runs through June. So you can order out of this for a good long while. So you can order product from this, or you can order product from our regular annual catalog. $50 worth of product, and you get to select something out of the Sale A Bration catalog, which is this. So that's where the Darling Donkeys come in. They are on page 4. You can purchase a project collection. If you do purchase the project collection, you will have what you need except for the acrylic blocks to make the projects they show here, and you will get the Darling Donkeys for free. So if you want to check that out, you can go online. If you don't have a catalog, you can do that at adastrastamping.stampinup.net. And I will show you that here in just a minute. So I'm going to flip the camera down, and I am going to show you what I have created, and then we're going to go from there. So here is the card I have created with this stamp set. And then on the inside, I have a little donkey, and I have written my little birthday greeting, encouraging them to kick up their heels and have a fun and fabulous birthday. So this is what I would call a simple stamping card. It is stamps, ink, and paper, and it is very simple to use. Now, what I'm going to do tonight is make up a dressed up version of this same card. So you will see not only what you need to do to create this card, but how we can dress this card up. So we're going to start out, and I would encourage you to use the Stamparatus with this set. That is what I did, and I was very happy that I did it that way. So I have got this pre-laid out on my Stamparatus. I have got a cardstock panel in here now that measures approximately 5 1/4 by 4. And is that correct? Yes, 5 1/4 by 4 1/4. So actually, we're almost 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. We may trim that down some, but we can always do that after we stamp. So I am going to place my magnet down and make sure that everything's going to go as planned. And I am going to stamp this up. Now I am using the Memento Black Tuxedo stamping ink pad. Give that a good tap, and we will close the lid, give it a quick press, And yes, this came out pretty good, but I feel like I'm missing a little bit on his tail, and I think the mouth area could be just a little darker. So I'm going to go ahead and re-ink this, and that's why I love using the Stamparatus, because while this image is okay, I feel like it could be better. And the Stamparatus allows me to re-ink and re-stamp without any shadows or variation. Yes, I'm much happier with that. So I'm going to take this out of my Stamparatus. And I did not wet my chamois down first, so excuse me while I get my chamois wet so we can clean that off before I close the door. That just keeps my grid paper nice and clean. And while you can purchase those and get new ones and replace, I like to make them last as long as I can, especially for camera. So I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to show you how I colored mine. Now here is the example card, and here is the one I just stamped. I am going to use the Stampin' blends. These are alcohol markers to color this card with. And I really like these. I feel like they give a very nice shading effect when used properly. And they're really, when I say properly, they're super easy to use. I am going to start with the dark shaded spruce. We need just a tiny bit of this. And I am going to use the thick end. You've got a thin end and a thick end. I like this fat paintbrush end because it does have a very fine tip, as you can see there. And I am going to use that to just put a little color on that rose stem. Don't want to color his teeth, so we'll just get that tiny little bit. Now, alcohol markers, you want to make sure they are tightly closed when you're finished. Next, I am going to lay down some light cherry cobbler. Now, each of these blends comes in a pack of 2. Each color comes in a pack of 2, a light and a dark. So I am going to use the light cherry cobbler on the rose itself. Because it's such a tiny image, I am not probably going to go over it with the dark because there's just hardly enough room to even mess with shading. I'm going to turn just a little more light on the subject here so that we can see what we're doing a little bit better. Now for his ears and his nostril, I went ahead and used a light petal pink. So we're going to do that now. We're going to add just a little to the inside of his ear. And I did the same right around the nostril area. The same right around the nostril area. The rest I have done in crumb cake. So I am using the dark crumb cake for his hooves. We'll just do these really quickly because I know you don't want to watch me do a lot of coloring. And I'm going to do his mane and his tail also in this dark. And then I'm going to add just a little highlight here and there, kind of on the underside of his belly where I think there might be some shadows. We've got this little mark here. Wherever you feel like you might want to lay down a little extra shading, maybe under his face. You might find a little bit of a shadow. You don't need a whole lot. And then I'm going to come in with the light crumb cake. And I am just going to start filling in the rest of his body and his legs. Now I like to pull away from that dark that I laid down when I'm doing the light and just kind of try to start working it in. You want to go carefully around the end of that rose in case it's not completely dry. It may try to blend in as well. And as you can see, it's starting to blend. I'm just going to work a little more color in around the edges so that it kind of leaves a lighter spot in the center where his belly is. Going to add a little color to his lower lip. I'm going to work around those nostrils that we colored in to try to preserve that lighter area there. And then I'm just going to try to very lightly color a little bit of brown just underneath where we put the petal pink in there, so that we have just a hint of the brown and a little bit of pink. And then I think on his face I'm going to add just a little more color, a little more shading. Just give a little differentiation between his mouth area and that. And really it's that quick, that simple. We've got a nice cute donkey, this little birthday sentiment. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this is I'm glad I left that a little larger because I wanted to use these stitched rectangle die cuts, and I am going to die cut this out. And I apologize, I planned this out yesterday and just die cut this out. And I apologize, I planned this out yesterday and just kind of put it on the back burner for today. And so I'm having to refresh my memory what I planned to do here. So I am going to get my new Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Really love this thing. It is very similar to our old Big Shot, but I actually am learning to like it a lot better. So you've got your base plate. You've got this thin die adapter, which is number 2. We've got a number 3. We're going to lay this down and try to have it fairly squared up on there. Now I can always use a piece of washi tape to kind of hold it in place. I don't always do that, but I think this time we will, just to try to keep it fairly straight on there while we die cut. And I send this through. Sorry for that noise. And what I love about this is my old Big Shot, I usually had to go through twice. One round through this new one, and it is done. We have that beautiful stitching around the edges. We have a nice clean cut. I'm going to go ahead and move this out of the way. Now I used a larger one before I went on here, and I cut a larger panel from the red. So we are going to actually layer these onto a white card base. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and stamp the inside of this card. Now, if you remember on the card base, and I just put plain white panels. So if you don't have a die cut machine, you can still create this effect really easily by making your base colored and just making a square panel for the inside and the front. Or you could even do a white base and just add a cut red panel that's not die cut with the stitching. I like the stitching. I think it adds a little extra flair to the card, and that's why I chose to do that. Now, you watched me use the Stamparatus earlier, and we could do the Stamparatus again, but I want to show you that you can get a good, clean image using just the stamps. Bear with me because I am working upside down so that you can see it right side up. I've got this inked up really well. I am just going to place that here. Now I like to hold that in place, give it a good firm push, try not to rock so you don't get any ghost images around it. But I like to leave it and let the ink soak in momentarily before I pull it up. And there we have a great stamped image. We are going to bypass the coloring for that for right now. I did color that in, and I will eventually, but I'm not going to make you watch me color another donkey. We're going to get on with creating the rest of this card. So before I go on, though, I did want to share on the other one, I used this cute little stamp just to kind of decorate around the donkey, and I did add a little shading. So I wanted to point that out before I move on. And this is just crumb cake. I just added a little bit of grounding and shadow for the donkey, which you can do, or you may choose not to. So I'm not going to do that part for you on this card, but I wanted to point out what I did on mine. And I keep trying to cover that up, but if you want to purchase from me, that's where you can find me. Now, I do hope that I can figure out how to share this video onto Facebook. So if you like watching videos on Facebook, I intend to have it there as well. I do have some other Facebook Lives that you can watch on there as well. Now for this card, rather than glue, I am going to use this fabulous Stampin' Seal tape runner to lay some tape on the back. Now these are a new tape runner, and I am still learning to use them myself. They are just a little different from our old, and I keep forgetting how to end so that I don't have to keep rolling up. So I do apologize. Bear with me on that. That's why you see me rolling that so that I can get the tape working. We're just going to center this up on our base. Give a firm press. Now this Stampin' Seal holds pretty well. I'm very happy with it, much happier than our old tape runner. In that respect, we do have one called a Stampin' Seal Plus, which gives you a little bit more heavily taped hold. So you can always opt for the more premium version if you want to ensure a really good hold. So now I'm just going to center that up on our red panel, give it a firm press. Voila, we have a very similar card to our original, but I'm going to add a little pizzazz to this one. So I am going to take these red rhinestones. Now I have these left over from Christmas cards, and I am just going to place these as a little border right around the words, "It's your birthday." Now I am placing these with the Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to do my best to get these on here nice and straight. You'll have to bear with me because this was a thought that I had and I had not played with it yet. But we're going to give it a whirl. I just kind of wanted to make a nice little decorative box around "It's Your Birthday" to make it stand out, because it is a very tiny sentiment and there's a lot of white on this card. This Take Your Pick tool is great for picking these up and getting them placed where you want on your card. You just kind of get it in place and give it a good mashing with your finger. I have a lot of these red rhinestones. I think it's really going to add a lot of emphasis on this card. And I am not afraid to use some embellishments. Sometimes in the past I think, oh, I have to hoard these things. And then I wind up with them forever. And then I order more, and I get so many that I've got more than I can use. So I've decided, you know what? It's time to just start being a little more generous with my embellishments. I am working on using up a lot of my DSP, so I'm hoping to share with you some tips for using up some of that DSP that you've had laying around for forever. If you're not familiar, you don't know what DSP is, it is designer series paper. That is kind of a Stampin' Up term. So if you craft and you're not familiar with Stampin' Up products, that is our fabulous designer series paper, and it is fabulous. So get those right. 2, 3. Nope, I need one more. I'm going to make that. I've got to scoot this guy over just a hair. See if I can pick him up. Yep. I'm going to do one more. That way we're even on the top and the bottom. Same amount of stones. So we've got, hey friend. Hey there, friend. It's your birthday. I am also going to add, because I am sending this to a friend, I'm going to add a little bow up here because I just think it's cute and adds a little pizzazz. So I am going to use, if I can find them. Yes, here we go. These are the mini glue dots. And they work great for adhering lots of things, ribbons and bows especially, sequins and other little trinkets that you might want to attach to your card can be easily adhered with these glue dots. They hold very well. One glue dot, and I am happy with that. So there is my Avid Crafter card from this set. Here is my simple stamp, ink, and paper card. I will finish the inside of that off camera, but I hope that you have enjoyed seeing this demonstration tonight. Again, it's a celebration item, so hop on over, do some shopping, shop with me at stamping.stampinup.net. Or if you just go to the online ordering website, you can just look up Amy A. Strab and you can shop with me that way as well. I hope you've enjoyed this, and I look forward to stamping with you again soon. Thanks for joining me.